Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Spanish Language and Bilingual Titles for Youth. I'm Julia Smith, Senior Editor for Books for Youth at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble accessing these materials, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a button for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so that they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. From there, you can select Show or Hide Captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Ruth Behar, author, and Carolina Barrera, Senior Sales Manager with Penguin Random House Grupo Editorial USA. Alex Robertson, Senior Editor, and Marian Hernandez, a Publishing Assistant of NorthSouth Books. Anna Erickson, Vice President, Sales of the Creative Company. Colette Perry, Marketing Design Associate at Charlesbridge. And Kaylee Flegg, Assistant Marketing Manager at Simon & Schuster. First, we'll hear from Ruth Behar and Carolina Barrera. Ruth, an acclaimed author of fiction and nonfiction, received a 2025 Newbery Honor Award and a Sidney Taylor Honor Award for her middle grade novel, Across So Many Seas. She won the Pura Belpré Award for her middle grade novel, Lucky Broken Girl, and her second novel, Letters from Cuba, was selected for the Kirkus list of Best Historical Fiction. She was the first Latina to win a MacArthur Genius Grant. She has also received a John Simon Guggenheim Fellowship and a Distinguished Alumna Award from Wesleyan University, and was named a Great Immigrant by the Carnegie Corporation. She was born in Havana, Cuba, grew up in New York City, and has also lived in Spain and Mexico. Carolina Barrera has been with Penguin Random House Grupo Editorial USA since 2017. She is responsible for all children and YA accounts in the US and works side by side with collection development teams, librarians, and decision makers to select the best books in Spanish for readers all over the US. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It is an enormous pleasure to be here as both a Spanish speaker and bilingual person. I really want to support this initiative very, very much. So I'm so happy to be here to talk about Across So Many Seas, my new middle grade novel. And the novel is in English. I wrote it in English, but it incorporates a lot of Spanish and also the language of Ladino. Ladino is a language spoken by Sephardic Jews, Jews of Spanish ancestry. And it also exists, next slide please, in a Spanish edition, A Través de los Mares, in a beautiful translation by Jenny Rodriguez. Now we'll look at the next slide. So this book was inspired by my paternal grandmother, who was an immigrant from Turkey to Cuba in the late 1920s, and she had a kind of mysterious story. We weren't quite sure why she went to Cuba. She was sent there by her parents, whom she never saw again. And next slide. And she took with her an oud. She played the oud, which is a Middle Eastern instrument, and she sang old Sephardic love songs on the oud. So she gets to Cuba, next slide, and meets my grandfather, and they marry, and they have 4 children. My father is the third child. And after she's married and very, very busy being a mom, she gives up playing the oud. She gives up singing the songs, the old Sephardic songs, and hangs her oud on a nail on the wall. And that was the story I always heard. And I thought, I have to write something about this. But I wanted to expand her story and put it in a larger framework, a larger historical context, and weave it into historical fiction. Next slide. So I decided to create a story with 4 girls, all of them 12 years old, and each of them living in a different country and a different time, but all their stories are going to be woven together somehow. I wasn't sure exactly how it would happen, but I knew that Benvenida's story would take place in 1492 Spain, Reina's in 1923 Turkey, Alegra in 1961 Cuba, and Paloma in 2003 Miami. So let me give you a glimpse of all this. Next slide, of how these stories come together. So Benvenida, again, she's living in 1492 Spain in the town of Toledo, a town well known for having been able to create a space for Jewish, Muslim, and Christian people to coexist with one another. It was very, very well known for that. Next slide. And so it's 1492, and when all this is happening, and it's a year that we normally associate with the conquest of the Americas and Columbus, but other things were happening in 1492, particularly earlier in that same year. Next slide. And what I pay attention to is the Edict of Expulsion that is issued in that year in early 1492. And it's an edict that basically expels the Jewish community from Spain. They had been living there for over 1,000 years at that time, and they are basically told that if they want to continue being Jewish, they will have to leave the Spanish kingdom, and if they want to remain in their homes in Spain, then they will have to convert to Catholicism. And so it's a very, very complicated time. And I thought a lot about this, what it must have been like, and how families made one decision or the other. Some chose to stay and convert, and some chose to leave, which both had different kinds of problems associated with them. Next slide. So Benvenida is taught to read and write by her mother, who is literate, who comes from a family of printers. And she writes poems too, and she writes about, I fear for all who hide their faith, because her family has decided to leave, but she has extended family who have decided to stay. So she's very aware of this fraught situation. Next slide. And so her family decides to leave Toledo. It's very, very painful. And here you can see a picture of what that Jewish neighborhood that once existed back in the medieval period, what it still looks like today. It's still very well preserved. Next slide. And so, right before the family leaves, right before she leaves with her family, she decides to leave a few words of goodbye to Toledo, and she hides a parchment deep, deep, deep in one of the crevices in the wall surrounding their house, hoping that maybe someday somebody will read her words, and if not, her words will stay in Toledo. And then she and so many others who leave Spain at that time, one of the things that chroniclers noted is that the Sephardic Jews left singing. They left singing old Spanish songs. So next slide. And so then we move on to Reina, 1923 Turkey. This is the story inspired by my grandmother. Next slide. And so she's living in Silivri, Turkey, a town not far from Istanbul. Next slide. And she plays the oud. It was very, very common at that time for young Turkish girls to play the oud. And so she plays the oud. Her mom has taught her how to play the oud. And she sings these old songs in Spanish, even though she lives in Turkey. Next slide. But she gets into trouble because of her singing. Her father has told her not to go to a big party that's being held at the port. where they're having fireworks, and she decides to go anyway. She brings her oud with her, and she sings a love song, a beautiful, beautiful love song, and she gets into tremendous trouble once her father finds out. He decides to punish her by sending her to Cuba to be married. She's only 12, but the man she will marry will wait 3 years to marry her when she is 15. And that is Reina's story. Keep going, please. Next slide. And so then we move on to Alegra, who is Reina's daughter, growing up in Cuba in 1961. Next slide. A very, very different time, a time of revolution. The Cuban Revolution has happened in 1959, and 1961 is Cuba's literacy campaign, this massive campaign to bring literacy to people in the countryside, particularly in Cuba. And so Alegra's very, very excited about this. Next slide. And she convinces her mom to let her go on her own and be part of this campaign, and reminds her mother how sad she would be if she couldn't read her sister's letters that are being written to her all the way from Turkey and connecting with the family that's left behind there. So she convinces her to let her go. Next slide. She goes off to the literacy campaign, to the countryside. She gets to see the smallest hummingbird in the world, which exists only in Cuba, the sunsuncito, loves the countryside, loves the people that she's teaching how to read and write, and they love her too. She thinks she has a future in Cuba, but next slide, her father gets into trouble with the revolutionary militias, and the family has to leave, and she is sent off by herself first on this Operation Peter Pan that existed in the early 60s, where they took out 15,000 Cuban children on their own to the United States, and most of them to Miami. And so she's part of this mass exodus of children. So that is Alegra's story. And then we move on, next slide, to Paloma's story, the fourth story of the book. And she is growing up in 2003 in Miami. Next slide. And her story is very interesting because she's biracial. Paloma is Afro-Cuban on her father's side and Sephardic Cuban on her mother's side. And she's at a memorial at the beginning of her section for Celia Cruz, who has just passed away, and everybody is remembering this great queen of salsa who always sang in Spanish and always sang Cuban songs, even though she was not allowed to go back to Cuba because she was critical of the regime. Next slide. So she learns about Celia Cruz, but she also learns about her mom and her grandmother's side and all these ancestors that were driven out of different countries, Spain, Turkey, Cuba, so many seas that were crossed. And she thinks so much had to happen before I could be born here in this place. And so she's thinking about what she will do in the future, maybe write a song in Spanish like Celia did. Next slide. And so the family, she and her mom and grandmother and dad, decide to go on a trip to Spain. And it turns out that Reina's mother's second last name, mom's last name, was Toledano. And they think maybe there's a connection to Toledo because of that name. And so they go off to visit Toledo in Spain. This is what it looks like today. Next slide. And there they go to the Sephardic Museum. This is true. There is this amazing Sephardic museum in Toledo, the Museo Sephardi, and it's housed, next slide, in what was once a 14th century synagogue. And it's incredible. It's very, very well preserved with etchings in Hebrew and in Arabic. It's quite impressive, and it's an amazing museum. But I fictionalized this part of it. And I imagine that in the museum, there is a glass case with a parchment that might just be the parchment Benvenida left behind in 1492. And she might just be an ancestor of Paloma. That next slide. And so Paloma and her family stay in the Jewish Quarter, what is now the Jewish Quarter in Toledo. And there's a little hotel there where they stay. And that hotel might just be what was once Benvenida's home. And so there's an evening where Paloma goes out and she gazes at the stars and wonders if her ancestors wished for some of the same things that she wishes for. Freedom, a home where we are welcome and where we can welcome others. And I just want to say that this is a story about welcoming others. It is a story about welcome rather than expulsion. It is a story of girls speaking up and being heard. And it is a story of the connection between past and present and how they connect through poetry, through song, through story, and through cultural memory. Next slide. And so there's a lot of resources for the book if you want to teach it or share it with others. Since a lot of songs appear in the book, there's a playlist on my website, and there's also an educator guide to Across So Many Seas. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carolina Barrera, and I am so happy to be with you here today. Thank you, Ruth, for that touching presentation. I am a senior sales manager for Penguin Random House Grupo Editorial, which is a subsidiary for Penguin Random House. We're based in Miami, and we exclusively publish Spanish language books. We offer diverse titles from Latin America and Spain. Our collections features original work from Spain, Mexico, Colombia, Chile, and Argentina, among other Latin American countries, as well as translations of award-winning as best-selling authors. Our extensive catalog offers a rich list of over 6,500 active titles across all categories, including 1,700 children's books. We have a robust annual publishing program. Each year, we publish over 1,200 titles, including more than 400 in children's and YA category. Around 50 titles are acquired by our editors, specifically from the US educational market and also the YA titles. We have dedicated bilingual and bicultural teams. Our editors, sales, and marketing teams are Native American Spanish speakers based in the US. So they really understand the needs of the Hispanic community in the USA. Our children and YA catalogs for the educational markets include K-12 fiction. We also offer nonfiction and reference titles. We can curate collections by request. We can also prepare classroom libraries for K-12. We develop lesson plans for selected titles. And we can send titles to be labeled by the GR and AR and Lexile teams. We also create marketing and campaigns focused on the educational US market. And we have presentations every month with our different customers. We hope that these books that you have seen in the slides right now and the others in our catalogs inspire and engage readers of all ages, and that they will serve as a valuable resource for years to come. As you saw in the first slide, we have award winners. If we can come back to the first slide, please. The other one, thank you, there we go. We have award winners, Pura Belpré award winners. We have best-selling series. We have graphic novels and nonfictions and memoirs, which are great for reluctant readers. And we have best-selling series like the Super Fudge series by Judy Blume. So we have, as you see, many different titles for many different type of readers, for many different types of requests and needs. So at the end, you will have my information. If you need, please do contact us. We'll be more than happy to assist with any of your requests. And thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Carolina and Ruth. Next, we will hear from Team North South. Alex Robertson is the senior editor of Ediciones NorthSouth, the Spanish language imprint of NorthSouth Books, where she acquires and edits original picture books and books in translation. Prior to joining NSB, Alex was an editor with Candlewick Press, where she worked on a range of titles from board books and picture books to middle grade and YA novels. Alex holds a BA in English Literature and Spanish from Northwestern University. Based in the Chicago suburbs, she enjoys book clubs, running, and attending concerts. Marian Hernandez is the publishing assistant of NorthSouth Books and its Spanish language imprint, where she assists the publicity, marketing, and editorial teams. Prior to joining NorthSouth, Marian was an editorial assistant at the Junior Library Guild, focusing on Spanish language and middle grade and high school nonfiction categories. Marian holds a BA in English from Rollins College and is currently pursuing a master's degree in library and information science. Based in Cleveland, Ohio, she enjoys reading, writing, and playing soccer with her dogs. Thanks for being here, Alex and Marian.
Thank you, Julia. It's so nice to be here. And hello, and thank you to everyone here for joining North South and this presentation today. So as Julia mentioned, my name is Alex, and I am a senior editor at North South and the head of Ediciones Norte Sur, our Spanish language imprint. And Marian and I are just so thrilled to introduce you to our latest Spanish and bilingual titles. Our mission at Ediciones Norte Sur is to elevate stories written by and for native speakers, as well as offer high-quality translations for readers looking to introduce an additional language into their reading rotation. So with that, I will pass it over to Marian, who will kick off our list of offerings.
Thank you, Alex. We're going to start with our fall 2025 titles that are currently available. Alboroto en el Museo follows young Yuri when chaos erupts at a dinosaur museum just before closing time. Through Hannah Bruckner's thoughtful and humorous debut, Yuri learns that even big messes become manageable with patience, deep breaths, and asking for help. Published simultaneously in English and Spanish, translators Maria Jose Ferrada and Silky Kleeman, this book is part of a small but growing collection of Spanish language picture books featuring a non-gendered main character. Yuri remains ungendered throughout the Spanish text and all supplementary materials. In the story, Bruckner perfectly captures how mistakes can make us feel small while modeling emotional regulation and self-compassion through Yuri. Perfect for your SEL collections with authentic, inclusive representation. Next, we have Nueve Pequeñas Personas, which follows 9 children born on the same day as they grow up together, experiencing childhood's special moments and becoming the best of friends. Author Regina Feldman created the story as the inclusive alternative she wished for growing up in response to nursery rhymes with racist undertones and other exclusionary texts. Martina Stuhlberger's joyful, vibrant illustrations capture diversity in race, body types, family composition, including children using prosthetic limbs, walking sticks, and service dogs, plus adults using wheelchairs and hearing aids. This is an ode to friendship, family, belonging, and acceptance. It invites children to imagine communities built both on commonality and a celebration of difference. There are so many visual gems throughout that also reward repeat readings. Moving on to titles that will be available in spring of 2026, I'm excited to introduce Selma, La Historia de una Araña Estelar. Most spiders spin webs to catch flies, but not Selma. She wants to capture the splendor of the universe, and with help from an unexpected UFO, she spins her way to the moon. Teeny Molina's fantastically fresh, Klassen-esque artwork celebrates creative spirits who dare to be different. The Spanish translation by Pura Belper Honor awardee Mariana Llanos maintains the joy and rhythm of the original while sounding utterly natural in Spanish. This book is perfect for STEAM programming and inspiring your young artists.
Seres Fabulosos is a compendium of fabulous creatures by #1 New York Times bestselling author Cornelia Funke and is filled with a range of 19 different mythical creatures, both familiar and less so. Budding mythical animal enthusiasts will be able to learn about the global origins of dragons or dragones, kroshi, tipacas, and other fantastical beings like the basilisco or the basilisk and the mythology around them. The translation, completed by award-winning translators Maria Jose Ferrada and Silke Kleeman, is engaging and child-friendly, and the art is richly illustrated by Ruby Warnicki. This compendium also works especially well to fill in the gaps between picture book readers and middle grade readers, and is sure to speak to any child hungry for all things magical. Next, we have JLG's selection, La Gran Sorpresa de Pesa, known in English as the Passover Pet Surprise, which has most recently received a starred review from SLJ. This Passover, Jordanita's family is leaving their Miami apartment and spending the holiday with family in Argentina. Jordanita's cousin's house is the best, especially because they have so many pets, including 2 loritos or parrots called Tick and Talk. When the family sits down to share the story of Passover, it hits Jordanita differently than ever before. If the point of Passover is to celebrate freedom, shouldn't that apply to all creatures, even pets like Tick and Talk? who live in a cage. Jordanita, her cousin, and her little brother take it upon themselves to put their teachings into practice and set the loritos free. This story is written and translated by Argentinian author Ana Maria Schua, and Angeles Ruiz's lively illustrations perfectly capture the warmth and gentle humor of this joyous text. We took great care to stay true to the Argentine setting by using vocab specific to the country and sparingly using the vosotros verb form, which is not often utilized in the States. This is intentional as we wanted to keep the translation authentic to the creator and the setting, but in no way should hinder the reading and comprehension for little ones. This is perfect for any reader looking for gentle, humorous stories about well-meaning schemes, stories about the love of family, stories about pets, and it can even act as a conversation starter for those sensitive kiddos who have a lot of questions about animals in cages. And we are especially pleased to have an offering for the Latinx Jewish community. In terms of programming, this is ideal for any spring holiday or other Passover-themed display, and this will hit shelves in spring of next year. Let Your Dreams Change the World. This picture book biography of Antoni Gaudí published in English back in 2022 and was instantly met with acclaim, including a starter review from SLJ, and was listed as one of Bank Street Books' best picture books of the year. And so we are so pleased now to be able to offer this edition in Spanish, which has been recognized as a JLG selection. The publication of the Spanish language picture book biography honors Gaudí's creative and architectural achievements just in time to commemorate the 100th anniversary of his death and the scheduled completion of one of his most recognized creations, the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. Susan P. Katz is an educator and an award-winning bilingual author, and she also translated the text herself. And Linda Schwalbe's art is so colorful and engaging. This title is the perfect addition for any Spanish language STEAM programming. It's for budding architects, for a lover of biographies about incredible creatives, and could easily be used in any art programming or event given the mosaic-like illustrations. This book has something for everyone and is available spring 26. Now we move on to the Rainbow Fish section of our list. Rainbow Fish's latest undersea adventure, Rainbow Fish and the Great Escape, is available in Spanish as El pez arcoíris se escapa de la red and combines the topic of the ocean environment with social-emotional learning. Rainbow Fish and his friends have only ever heard stories about the nets that come and take away shoals of fish from the ocean. That is, until one day they come face to face with the trawling net themselves. Luckily, with some quick thinking and some help, they're able to cut through the net and make their great escape. Renowned Mexican-American author, translator, and creative David Bowles continues to translate our Rainbow Fish series, and he has perfectly captured the suspense, community, and sense of accomplishment that will make this story so captivating for any audience. The richness of the story allows for multiple readings that tackles discussions around the dangers of overfishing and other conversations around ocean conservation, to examples of leaning on community, critical thinking, and problem solving. We could not be more proud to continue to make a staple like Rainbow Fish available in so many capacities for Spanish speakers. Known in English with the title of Rainbow Fish and the Big Blue Whale, and as a board book titled Rainbow Fish Makes Peace, the Spanish edition is called El pez arcoíris trae la paz and is available spring 26. David Bowles continues to do an impeccable job translating Marcus Pfister's classic text while also making the story feel fresh and more timely than ever. In this adventure, a whale joins the community Rainbow Fish and his friends call home. However, a misunderstanding escalates as some of the fish worry that the whale will eat all of the krill, leaving no food resources for them. They also grow generally suspicious of whale just because of its size. Luckily, Rainbow Fish decides to act as mediator and make peace with the whale by apologizing for their harsh words and their unfounded judgments. At a time when it feels like fear and mistrust of folks in our communities is constantly being stoked, this Rainbow Fish story is an important grounding reminder to communicate, to authentically get to know people, to treat others with respect and dignity, and maybe most important of all, to apologize when you know you have made a mistake. With so many crucial themes embedded throughout this story, this makes for a great addition for social emotional learning story times about empathy and making amends, and even to be used in displays for anti-bullying awareness, which can be highlighted always, but especially this month of October, which I understand is Anti-Bullying Awareness Month. Above all else, we are happy to have this offering in Spanish and in the hopes that Rainbow Fish will continue to model and inspire empathy for all.
Our beloved Rainbow Fish also returns in freshly redesigned concept board books, now available bilingually in English and Spanish and in an English-only edition. With bold, beautifully rendered illustrations, these sturdy board books are perfect for little ones learning their colors and numbers. As you can see in the sample spreads, the colors featured in bold in both languages for easy identification. Each spread also features a different sea animal for added vocabulary building, and it wouldn't be Rainbow Fish without his characteristic silvery foil scales. A Contar teaches counting from 1 to 10, with numbers shown both numerically and written text. Like in Colores, the numbers are bolded so that adult and child readers can easily detect the corresponding words in both languages. And just as you've seen in Colores, A Contar features different sea animals throughout, and we end the story with our silver-foiled clad friend, the rainbow fish. These make the perfect pairing for caregivers, educators, and librarians to incorporate into collections to enhance early learning and promote bilingualism at a young age. These are also perfect to add to your collections as reference sets for baby story times. Thank you all for your time today. These titles represent what we believe quality Spanish language publishing looks like: award-winning translators who create natural-sounding texts and authentic representation that reflects children's real lives. You can email us with any questions to request digital galleys or to inquire about author visits. Our slides will be available after the session as well for reference. And thank you all for ensuring children can find books in their home language. We're so excited to support your collections with these titles.
Thank you very much, Team North South. Next, we'll hear from Anna Erickson. Anna has worked in the children's book publishing industry for over 25 years and is stubbornly convinced that all children deserve access to high-quality reading material. She is based in Oakland, California. The floor is yours, Anna.
Thank you, Julia. It's so great to be here. I'm here today to talk about series nonfiction from The Creative Company and two of the publishers that we're happy to represent, Amicus and Black Rabbit. All three are independent companies based in Minnesota, and they specialize in nonfiction for school and public libraries for pre-K through high school. Amicus is known for emergent to transitional level books. Black Rabbit really zeroes in on striving readers, and Creative covers the gamut, all the way from the littlest to the teenage level. All of the books that they publish are available in library-bound hardcover, as well as paperback and ebook editions. And about 80% of our offering is published concurrently in both English and Spanish. We're also introducing, for the first time this year, a bilingual program. So I'm going to share the highlights of the current fall 2025 list as examples of the types of books that we do. And we really begin with books for pre-K to kindergarten with an 18-page format or a 16-page format that zeroes in on high interest topics for little kids, as well as more community-based programs such as the community life set that profiles different types of roles that different people have in our communities. This SPOT program from Amicus uses a search and find game framework. So at the beginning of each text, you get an invitation to spot 4 keywords and 4 image details as you work through the book, and then there's a little answer key at the end. You'll see that in a lot of this photographic series nonfiction, we're taking a lot of care to choose really eye-catching, inviting images. They do enhance the text, especially for the lowest level where you're working with a fairly condensed reading experience. The way Black Rabbit approaches books for the youngest kids is to take a very templated approach, because they are trying to support readers who are maybe struggling. They're trying to find their way into the book format with a degree of comfort. So they focus on truly high interest topics, and each book in a series is very consistent. So if you have success with one, you're likely to be able to pick up the next in the series and continue that success. They also cast their interest range well above grade level, and we'll see that later on in their older books as well. Creative Company approaches the youngest books with series like Starting Out, El Principio de los. And these are books that use a first person perspective when they're dealing with topics such as animals. So they have a really nice feel as read alouds, even as nonfiction books. And again, a lot of care with the image selection, a bright, fresh, inviting look, and full back matter and front matter, just as you would see in informational texts, regardless of language. As we move up the spectrum to the first grade level, you'll see programs such as Maravillas um, for for the Creative Company. These are wide-ranging brands that publish to a lot of different subjects and topics. This particular series, this particular brand, really tips its hat to the world of comic books, and you get that sense in the covers, be it animals or vehicles that they're presenting. And in the interior, it's quite a traditional informational text. However, you'll see in a lot of the spreads that be it the featured animal or the characters illustrating the vehicles books, they have little speech bubbles where they get to kind of comment on what's happening. It adds a touch of humor, a touch of fun to the format. Creative is probably best known for a series called Amazing Animals. It's a long-running program of single subject animal titles for the second grade level. They are beautifully photographic. They are 24-page books. They include things like an animal tale at the end, which is a little origin story for each animal. And this has been a program that's been published in both English and Spanish for years. This is the first year we've been able to offer a bilingual format. And we're thrilled about this because these are generously sized books. They're a slightly oversized format. And that extra room and the nature of the design has allowed us to put the translations side by side, which is just a real luxury instead of having to do a top to bottom approach. So we love bringing this program to market in bilingual format for the first time. And again, all of the books in this series are already available in Spanish. We do publish new sets each year. The Amazing brand, like so many of these big brands, now includes a range of topics, and you'll see a set for the upcoming Winter Olympics with the most popular topics in that program. And like the other amazing books, these are big, beautiful books with just eye-catching photos throughout, and a lot of room on the page for that text to really breathe and be very easy to consume. Over on the Amicus list, they treat their second grade level with a Q&A format. And there are several series here as examples of what they're doing. They have a sense of fun as well. I like the way that the shark is swallowing the letter there in its title. And they are bringing this Q&A format to a range of topics, including programming and well-known brands. Each of these books really hews to the perspective of a second grader. So they're trying to cast the Q&A to the topics, to the questions that are of interest to, you know, a 7-year-old, which is different than an adult to an amazing degree. And they have a lot of fun with that. Amicus also does a high interest program, and within that, there's a set of celebrity bios that is added to each year. Again, with the World Cup coming up, we're happy to have Messi in here, as that is going to be a topic of increasing interest over the next 12 months. They do also illustrated narrative nonfiction, so you'll see a range of titles on topics such as science and social emotional health. One interesting one right now is the fact versus fiction set that uses popular fairy tales to help discern what is tale versus truth in a way that is both familiar and frankly non-controversial. Amicus is also, I would like to call out, really careful in trying to represent their audience as fully as possible. So even if diversity is not the topic of a book that they're dealing with, it is always there in the presentation of the characters and the images they choose. Bolt on the Black Rabbit program moves us up to the third grade level. And these books are written at the third grade level, but they are, again, casting an interest range much higher. So they're really for middle school kids who are not reading to level and are looking for high interest topics in a way that does not patronize them. That's exactly what Bolt is about. They want to bring you into a book. The Top Rank program from Black Rabbit serves striving readers in a slightly different way. They break their books into chapters that act as standalone experiences. So for these, you'll see a series of interlinking chapters. Each one is a complete reading experience. Together, they form a narrative arc, but individually, you can dip in, and even within a couple of pages, have a full reading experience. So we love having these, especially as they touch on more curricular topics. And then wrapping it up as we move up into higher grade levels, middle school and beyond, you'll see books on the creative program that touch on subjects such as sports. This season we have 3 topical sports sets, 2 related to the NFL history, and 1 to the World Cup team. So those are just something to broaden our offering and keep a high interest topic accessible to older kids as well. We are trying to make it a point to get our translations up into those middle school and high school level series, and we only see more of that in the coming months. And then last but not least today, another example of a middle school set would be the natural history set that follows not only single subject animals, but also their entire habitat. And they're kind of like a nature program. So you dip into each of these animals and the world that they inhabit in a really complete way in a 32-page format for older kids. Thank you so much for taking a peek at the series nonfiction offering, and do check out our website to visit all of these publishers and more. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you, Anna. Next, we will hear from Colette Perry. Colette has worked in marketing at Charlesbridge for 7 years. She was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and holds a BA in Communications and Music from Simmons University. She lives in the Boston area. Take it away, Colette.
Thank you, Julia. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have some great series programs to talk about, as well as some really special standalone titles. Without further ado, let's get started with STEAMworks, a new partnership with the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools to bring you playful, child-led board books and picture books based in STEAM topics. Let's hear a word from our series editor and program director, Alex McKenzie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alex McKenzie, and for the last year, I've been working with the team at Count Play Explore on something really special. I'm so thrilled to be able to tell you about our new STEAMworks children's book series coming in 2026, born of a partnership between Charlesbridge Publishing and Count Play Explore. It will consist of board books for ages 0 to 3 and picture books for ages 4 to 7 that focus on STEAM topics: science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So STEM plus art. The books will showcase a diverse group of characters engaging in STEAM activities to show readers that STEAM is fun, STEAM is everywhere, and STEAM is for everyone. It's our goal to show children of all backgrounds and abilities that they can be mathematicians, scientists, and engineers by highlighting everyday problems and questions that are important to them. The series will continue through the rest of 2026 and 2027, bringing titles about sorting and categorization, sequencing, ramps and simple machines, time, coding and dance, and so much more. Keep an eye on our website, www.steamworksbooks.com, for updated series information.
We're kicking this off with 2 board books in May. Chef Luna and Manny y el Tiempo Hace en Juego will be available in English and in Spanish-English bilingual editions. Chef Luna, Moon Chef, explores shapes and lunar phases with a girl whose family eats foods that match the shape of the moon. Crescent plantains, half moon empanadillas, and gibbous soursops are delicious and nutritious. Manny y el tiempo hacen juego, Manny matches the weather, follows a junior fashionista who learns to observe the weather in the morning so that he can pick clothes that look good and keep him comfortable in the elements. These titles are on sale in board on May 5th. Keep your eyes peeled for more exciting news from Steamworks in 2026. The learning fun continues with a new Spanish bilingual edition in our Storytelling Math series, featuring kids who use math as they play, grow, and discover the world around them. Luna y el caso de los pasteles de luna perdidos is a masterful mystery exploring logic. The Mid-Autumn Festival is a time for Luna to visit with her cousins, admire the beautiful full moon, and eat delicious mooncakes. But when a mooncake goes missing, Detective Luna and her cousin Detective Mina have a case to solve. They look for clues and rule out suspects one by one, but something's not adding up. Can they find the culprit? While the story encourages the application of logic, it also fosters cooperative problem solving, persistence, and an attitude of forgiveness when the dastardly thief is finally uncovered. This joyful whodunit, full of humor and whimsy, is on sale January 6th. Fans of our Lola Reads series and the companion Leo Can series, get ready for some exciting new Spanish translations. Lola loves reading with her family and learning about the world around her. Lola Conoce las Abejas is an exciting foray into the world of urban beekeeping. Lola and her mommy are going to visit mommy's friend Zora. Zora keeps bees, and Lola will get to meet them. She reads all about bees and thinks up lots of questions to ask. Our intrepid protagonist gets to wear a special suit and look inside the hive, and their visit caps off with a sample of sweet honey. Back at home, Lola plants a wild corner for pollinators so that she can help the bees too. Perfect for youngsters with a sweet tooth who love farmers markets, gardening, and all things outdoors, Lola Conoce las Abejas is on sale January 6th. Leo puede nadar and Leo se hace un chequeo follow Lola's little brother Leo as he grows and gains confidence in the world. These friendly board books demystify new experiences like learning to swim or getting a checkup at the doctor. Whether he's splashing like a little fish in the pool or getting a shot to keep him healthy, Leo is brave and excited to try new things with the support of his mommy and daddy. Leo puede nadar and Leo se hace un chequeo are on sale May 26th. That's it for series titles. Let's take a look at some amazing standalones. We're so excited to bring you Las Maneras en que Papi Dice Te Quiero by Delia Ruiz, illustrated by Carlos Vélez Aguilera. This title is simultaneously publishing in English. Maricruz loves going to the store in Papi's big truck. Along the way, there are countless ways Papi says, I love you. He reminds her to be safe by wearing her seatbelt. He picks her a little bouquet of wildflowers from a neighbor's yard. And he reassures her when she realizes she lost the grocery list. Every action reminds her that she is seen, respected, supported, and cared for. And Maricruz has a way of saying, I love you too, with a hug. This sweet story is a perfect conversation starter about love languages and acts of kindness, and a gentle model of masculinity with a compassionate and tender father figure. Award-winning author Delia Ruiz is a tireless advocate for Latine books and a brilliant speaker. Let's hear a bit from her about the inspiration for this book.
Books that show readers how to give and receive love are so important to foster healthy relationships. My name is Delia Ruiz. I am the author of Ways Papi Says I Love You, and in Spanish the book is available as Las Maneras en que Papi Dice Te Quiero. This book was inspired by my own upbringing on the dirt roads and the relationships with my family. So through each page, readers will see examples of all of the love languages, and I hope this story opens up the conversation on how to give and receive love to others.
Las Maneras en que Papi Dice Te Quiero is on sale March 24th, also available in English as Ways Papi Says I Love You. The family fun continues with Hermana Pegajosa by Ana Siqueira with art by Olivia de Castro. We've all been there. You love your little sibling, you have tons of fun together, but sometimes they're just too sticky. Claudia loves having a little sister most of the time, but Monica wants to do everything together. Finally, Claudia tries to get Monica to leave her alone by telling her a monster will eat her up. Of course, they have to find a way to make up, but when a bubblegum peace offering goes awry, the sisters discover a whole new meaning of the word sticky. This lighthearted tale of sisterhood is also available in English as Sticky Hermana. Recommended as a first purchase for all libraries by School Library Journal, this book is on sale October 28th. Next up, we have Mil Mariposas Blancas by Jessica Betancourt Perez and Karen Lynn Williams with art by Gina Maldonado, a touching tale of immigration and first friendship. Isabella just moved to the States from Colombia. She's nervous about making friends here where everything is so different, and then a sudden snowstorm cancels her first day of school. She decides to try playing outside and makes a new friend, bridging the language gap with snow angels and smiles. This story acknowledges the emotional realities of homesickness, anxiety, and family separation, while centering a hopeful narrative of welcome and friendship. Mil Mariposas Blancas, also available in English as 1,000 White Butterflies, is on sale October 28th. The Bilingual Playtime Fun continues with We Laugh Alike, Juntos Nos Reímos by award-winning author Carmen Bernier Grand and art by Elisa Bermudez. 3 Spanish-speaking kids and 3 English-speaking kids walk into a playground. At first, they keep their distance and watch each other play, but soon they find that jump rope rhymes and a little laughter are the universal language. This charming story deftly blends Spanish and English text in a sweet demonstration of how friendship can transcend language barriers. Next slide, please. We Laugh Alike, Juntos Nos Reímos is available in hardcover and paperback on May 5th. For nonfiction lovers, we have Chicas con Gallas by Debbie Gonzalez with art by Rebecca Gibbon. This cheerfully defiant history of women's sports celebrates the pioneers who insisted on their right to compete. From the ancient Greek runner Melpomene to Victorian cyclist Frances Willard and civil rights era tennis player Althea Gibson, girls and women have always been athletes. In the 1970s, women stepped up on a different playing field. Women like Edith Green, Shirley Chisholm, and Patsy Mink, who fought to pass Title IX and enshrine legal equality for girl athletes. Also available in English as Girls with Guts, Chicas con Gallas is on sale January 6th. Next up, we have 2 classics from Samantha R. Vamos, now available in Spanish. La cazuela que la campesina revolvió is the beloved award-winning tale of a farm community coming together to create a special treat. Back matter includes a recipe for arroz con leche. With a house that Jack built structure and gorgeous folkloric illustrations by Rafael Lopez, this title is an heirloom for generations of Storytime listeners. And the fun continues with La piñata que la campesina colgó. Everyone on the farm works together to create a traditional piñata for a special someone's birthday, but an ill-timed siesta might throw off the whole fiesta. Perfect for any storytime, La cazuela que la campesina revolvió and La piñata que la campesina colgó are on sale now. Let's wrap this up with a look at Popo el Xolo by Paloma Angelina Lopez with art by Abraham Matias. Fuse 8 called this one moving and incredible, and the accolades keep rolling in. We hope to see this book touch many more lives. Inspired by indigenous Mexican beliefs about the afterlife, this warm and heartfelt story follows Nana and her beloved Xolo dog Popo as they embark on Nana's final journey. The voyage takes Nana through snowscapes, jungles, and mountains as she remembers her life and lets go of old regrets and fears in preparation for what lies beyond. Popo guides her every step of the way. Finally, Nana's spirit comes back home to say a last goodbye to her family as they honor her memory. I believe an editor at Levine Querido put it best when he said of this book, to touch on death in that way but retain a sense of humor and joy and playfulness is such a gift. While it addresses loss and grief very directly, this book is very much a celebration of the things that make life worth living: kindness, love, family, and, of course, a very good dog. Perfect for families mourning a loss or celebrating El Día de los Muertos, Popo el Xolo is a tender story that honors the role pets play in comforting their humans during sad times. This book is available now in Spanish and English. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at cperry@charlesbridge.com. You can find digital galleys, bonus videos, downloadables, and more on our website at charlesbridge.com/Spanish webinar. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Colette. Lastly, we will hear from Kaylee Flagg. Kaylee is the Assistant Marketing Manager on the Education and Library team at Simon & Schuster. For all 4 years of middle school, she won most books checked out at her library. So you could say her career is the ultimate expression of her childhood ambitions. When she's not reading, she is usually running in Central Park, attempting a new recipe, or following random dogs down the street. Thanks for joining us, Kaylee.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Kaylee Flagg, as you just heard, and I'm excited to share with you some new and some perennial backlist favorite titles written in the Spanish language. Next slide. So we're going to get started with our board books and our licensed titles. This year we have some sweet board books featuring our beloved characters. I'm talking icons like Snoopy and the Cocomelon cast. We know these will be perfect books for Spanish-speaking patrons to read to their children for some quality story time. Next slide. This year, we also have several of our popular picture books translated into Spanish. La Charla is the Spanish translation of Alicia D. Williams' The Talk, which is a Coretta Scott King author honor winner. La Gatita y el Vigilante Nocturno sees Kitten and the Night Watchman, an incredibly awarded favorite, translated into Spanish. We also have Bitsy Murcielago, Estrella Escolar, marking the beginning of our beloved Bitsy Bat series in Spanish. Next slide. Este Momento es Especial was a simultaneous pub in English and Spanish, preparing for the Day of the Dead celebration and honoring those we've lost. Un balde de bendiciones, a bucket of blessings, reminds us all in any language to be grateful for what we have. Lastly, the trailblazing book Nazarine's Secret School is now available in Spanish as La Escuela Secreta de Nazarine. Next slide. We've also got two great middle grade novels out this year. Firstly, Cousins in the Time of Magic, or Primos en Tiempos de Magia, is rising star Emma Otegi's take on time travel, following three cousins who get transported back to 1862 to play an important role in the Battle of Puebla, the reason we celebrate Cinco de Mayo today. And next up, we have the Young Readers edition of Reina Grande's trailblazing memoir, The Distance Between Us, her personal experience of crossing the Mexican border and culture into America, available in Spanish as La Distancia entre Nosotros. Next slide. We couldn't do a Spanish language focused webinar without discussing the incomparable Margarita Engel. For teens, Margarita has a new gorgeously romantic contemporary novel in verse where love and conservation intertwine for two teens in Sueños Salvajes. This one is a National Book Award longlist title and a Purabelle per Young Adult Author Honor book. Margarita also has Criaturas Aisladas, another beautiful novel in verse love story told about childhood friends, once lost and now reconnected, and their fight to protect endangered animals. Next slide. Now is the perfect time to highlight some of Margarita's essential backlist titles, including powerful and educational nonfiction picture books like Luz para Todos and El Día del Agua. We also have Eloisa y su Ventana Musical, which is inspired by stories from Margarita's childhood and the power of music. Next slide. So much great Margarita. For teen readers, we can't miss a gorgeously romantic contemporary novel in verse that tells the inspiring love story of two teens fighting for climate action and human rights, A las Salvajes. Tu corazón, mi cielo is a story of love in a time of hunger, inspired by Margarita's own family struggles during a dark period in Cuba's history. Next slide. Now transitioning to something very different and very fun. If you haven't heard the news already, the wildly popular Spy School series by Stuart Gibbs is now available in Spanish, and we'll be publishing new Spanish editions of each of the books in the series over the next several years. So far, the first 4 books are available, so now more students will be able to follow along with Ben Ripley's espionage-filled adventures in multiple languages. Next slide. And for those who want a whole series in Spanish, keep looking to the beloved and iconic Track series by Jason Reynolds, perfect for any sporty reader. The complete series is currently available in Spanish, and Jason's prequel, Coach, is coming out this spring, so make sure to get your hands on that. And it's set to join the collection next year as well. Next slide. Simon & Schuster Children's Publishing is very proud that we've been publishing books in the Spanish language for many years, and we're very much looking forward to continuing this mission in the future. Here are some of our essential picture book backlist titles to help libraries and classrooms fill their shelves. We have Martina tiene muchas tías, a sweet story anyone with a big family is sure to relate to. Adios Habana, Hola Nueva York takes its rightful place on this list as a powerful story of immigration and revolution, now available in Spanish. Los Plátanos son amor is a delicious story of the ways plantains shape Latinx culture, community, and family, told through a young girl's experiences in the kitchen with her abuela. Tan Especial is a tender-hearted tale following a little girl's journey to make her new house a home, one mango at a time. Finally, Comparte Cariño y Brinda Luz, part of the Sweet Coco and Bear picture book series, reminds us all of the true meaning of selfless kindness. And if you're a fan of Coco and Bear, we're also working on getting this whole series out into Spanish as well. Next slide. Please don't forget to save some room on those shelves for nonfiction. And here are some wonderful recommendations. Cuando los Ángeles Cantan, whose English edition, When Angels Sing, won a Poor Bell Prize Illustrator honor and Cybert honor, is a vibrant rhythmic picture book celebrating music icon Carlos Santana. Cultivado in Harlem tells the incredible true story of Harlem Grown, a lush garden in New York City that grew out of an abandoned lot and now feeds a neighborhood. And if anyone is a fan of Humans of New York, the author of Harlem Grown is collaborating with Humans of New York on a really exciting project, if you guys want to check that out. And we have a sequel to Harlem Grown that's also going to be available in Spanish very soon. La Dama del Arbol is the true story of a green-thumbed pioneer and activist, Kate Sessions, who helped San Diego grow from a dry desert town into a lush, leafy city. And last but not least, 14 Monos is a playful, fact-filled journey to the rainforest and 14 different monkey species that live in it. Next slide. And now to bring my presentation to a close, I want to share some of our helpful resources that you can see here. In addition to our Spanish digital catalog, which you can find on our teacher and librarian homepage, which is linked here, we now have a dedicated Spanish language homepage with all of our Spanish titles, our featured books, and all of our Spanish resources. And you can get to that page via our teacher and librarian homepage as well. And make sure you sign up for our monthly librarian e-newsletters and stay in touch with us on social media at SSEdLib. Request Simon & Schuster e-galleys on Edelweiss and NetGalley, and email us with questions or requests at education.library@simonandschuster.com. Thank you so much for listening today, and feel free to drop any Q&A questions in the chat. I know we'll get them after. I would also like to thank you all for enduring my Spanish pronunciations throughout this presentation. I also took French in high school, so the Spanish language is familiar but very different from what I'm used to, and getting to work on these wonderful books is helping me learn more Spanish myself, showing that the benefits of Spanish language children's books are not just for children. How great is that? And that is all from me for now, so thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much, Kaylee. And a big thank you to all of today's presenters. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, title list, certificate of completion, and video recording. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. You can also find out about the latest webinars on our social channels. Visit us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and now Blue Sky. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and one more huge thank you to our panelists and to our sponsors, PRH Grupo Editorial, NorthSouth Books, The Creative Company, Charlesbridge, and Simon & Schuster. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.